So this might be the biggest reason your fitness business right now is stuck and it's not moving forward at the pace you'd like. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to talk you through the exact processes, the exact systems that might be holding you back towards growing your coaching business. So let's dive into it. So there's a few big things, and I've made a big bullet point and breakdown in terms of everything that might be holding you back right now to grow. And this is me after having helped quite literally hundreds of fitness coaches to take their business online, to make their first £1,000, £2,000, £5,000 fully online in their coaching business. And today in this video, I'm going to run you through one of the biggest reasons I see why fitness coaching businesses get stuck, how to get unstuck, and more often than not, the issue isn't actually the coaching, it's something else completely, and I'm going to break it down now. So one of the biggest things we need to keep in mind, and one of the biggest things I've noticed, is there's a big thing in the online coaching space that's quite literally trapping fitness coaches and stopping them from making progress. You might be asking what that might be, and it's the reality of this, right? Most coaches are doing all the right things, but they're not getting results. And there's one big reason that's happening. One of the biggest reasons most coaches are doing the right things, but they're not getting results, is because they're just actually doing them in the wrong order. Because the reality is, if you are spending your time, right, we're going to go deeper into this, but the reality is, if right now you're spending your time in your coaching business trying to optimize your coaching program and make your coaching program perfect, but you don't have enough people going through the program, you're quite literally wasting your time spending it on the wrong things. So what we really need to do is identify what's the biggest constraint, what's the biggest thing that's holding your coaching business back, and we fix it. And that's what we do with clients. Because if you can spot the one big kind of constraint, the one big issue in a coaching business, and you spend your majority of your time and energy building systems, building processes to fix that, you can literally grow from 0 to 5k, so much quicker, from 5k to 10k, from 10k to 15, 20k, whatever it might be, exponentially quicker, right? And one of the first big things we need to keep in mind with all of this is, most of the time when it comes to growing, when it comes to driving forward, that can be in different ranges, right? So I've helped coaches, I've had students come through my programs, and they've come from maybe 0. So they've gone from being busy on the gym floor in person, and they've now trying to build the online business. That's one person. Another student might be someone that's actually doing fairly okay online. They're doing 3 to 4k, 3 to 5k online, but it's just having that belief and that kind of identity to go to the next stage. So wherever you are right now and whatever's holding you back towards growing towards the next level, one of the biggest things we need to keep in mind when it comes to making that jump and that leap of faith is really embodying like that person, and really thinking clearly about who is that person, who is that business owner that's going to be at the next level. Who is that coach that I need to embody to become the coach that allows me to go from making 3k per month to making 10k per month, right? What are they doing? What are they believing? What are they watching? What are they spending their time on? Because one of the best things you can keep in mind is, what got you here right now, realistically, 9 times out of 10 isn't going to get you there. So you really need to look at what are the tasks, what are the beliefs, what are the things you're holding on right now that you really shouldn't be holding on to, because they're no longer serving you to actually take your business to the next level. Once you understand that, business and growing a coaching business becomes infinitely easier, right? So one of the biggest things here is really understanding what are the biggest bottlenecks inside your coaching business. What's the things right now that are stopping you and quite literally handicapping your business from moving forward. And I've touched on this a little bit, but 99% of the time, your ability to grow and the ability to grow a coaching business, it's not down to the coaching being bad. The coaching program itself isn't bad, because I work with coaches who genuinely care, who genuinely want to leave their clients better than they found them, who really over deliver, and they're obsessing on the wrong thing. They're obsessing on trying to make the coaching program 1% better, trying to find better colors, better check-in systems, better apps to use to coach their clients. But what they're not realizing is the issue most of the time is not the coaching program itself. It's just we need to have more people coming through the program. We need to get more clients coming in. We need to get more people that we're speaking to, more real life experiences and real conversations with people inside the program. More sales calls, more conversations, more content, more videos. All of these stuff is what's going to be, it's going to allow you to get more conversations. It's going to allow you to get more feedback with what people want to see, what problems they have, and how you can solve it, and how you can talk about it and address it better in your content to move forward. So if you're stuck right now, you're not having your business move to the next level, really obsessing, really looking at the data inside, like your lead generation side of things would make a huge difference here. Like, your lead generation might be one of the biggest things that's holding your business back. And one of the best things you can do, if you're not doing this already, is really understanding the numbers behind your lead generation. Like, how many calls you currently booking inside your coaching business, how many of those calls are actually closing into clients, what's the close rate, what's the show up rate, what's your cash collected per day, what's your revenue, like what's your projected revenue for the business for the month. Having these metrics, having these data points, having these numbers there means that you're going to be so much more switched on, and you're going to have a little bit of healthy pressure to know what you need to do to push forward to achieve that next level. So if you haven't got that, it's probably one of the biggest things you can be implementing to really drive and succeed with your coaching business, right? So where should your time actually physically be going right now in order for you to grow? And one very amazing thought pattern you can have as a coach right now is not necessarily doing more, but actually really being proactive about fitting everything you need to do in 5 hours a day. I have students personally. All the students I work with, right, one of the biggest things we implement and one of the biggest things we teach for them inside their business is to make sure they can get their entire working day done within 5 to 6 hours per day. Like, can you do it in 12 hours? Can you work 12, 16, 18 hours? Yeah, you can. You can absolutely work longer and you can get that done. But the reality is, if you can limit your time to 5 to 6 hours per day, every single day is going to mean a few things. It's going to mean you're just focusing on the most important things, because you're not giving yourself the opportunity, you're not giving yourself the chance to mess around and waste time. So you really get really clear on what are the biggest things that's going to drive the success of your coaching business forward. So if you're not feeling focused, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling anxious, if you haven't got the motivation, limit your day right down to maybe 5 to 6 hours at the maximum, and watch your ability to diagnose what are the biggest things you need to work on become so much easier, because you've got that capacity, you've got the roof, you haven't got the time to mess around. It'll make your life and your business and your growth exponentially easier. That would be the first thing. And the second thing as well on this is really simplifying things right down. From that 5 hours a day that you're working, the biggest things you want to be looking at is these things, right? One is content. Like, what kind of content are you creating right now? And is the content getting people to raise their hand and ask for the next step? My clients, my students are having leads literally raise their hand every single day just from content and just from organic and boosted content. They're raising their hand, they're going in their DMs, they're saying, hey coach, I really want to find out more about your program, or I really want to get this free thing that you've just talked about. That's one of the very first things you can be optimizing with your content. Not likes, not followers, not saves, not comments. How many people are actually proactively commenting for a free thing, or how many people are messaging you to work with you one-to-one? That'd be the first thing I'd be really obsessively optimizing with your content. The second thing is your lead generation ability, right? Lead generation has so many different things you can look at. Effectively, if we simplify it right down, the biggest thing you want to be obsessing with from here is the people you're speaking to in your messages, in your WhatsApp, people in your content. How many of these people are actually booking into sales calls to speak to yourself about your coaching program? That'd be the second thing I'd be looking at optimizing. The third thing is, of course, sales calls and how good are your sales calls, how many people are you booking, how many people are you closing, and obviously on the back end, the last thing you'd want to be looking at is client results, referrals, testimonials, upsells, like all of these things. So right now, wherever your coaching business is at, the reality is you're probably going to have one big problem. One of the biggest is going to be one of those 4 bullet points. It's either going to be content, either lead gen, either sales or referrals. If you have 10 clients, 20 clients, referrals, I wouldn't say are going to be like the biggest lever that you can pull right now in your business. It'll be a good thing to have, but if you look at content, lead generation, sales, and you look at where are you missing, like are you speaking to a lot of people on the phone but no one's closing, or are you having lots of conversations but no one's actually booking into sales calls, or are you posting lots of content but no one's messaging you? If you find the biggest problem and you just get really obsessive of just fixing that one thing, like, dude, your ability to grow and your ability to make exponential progress is going to skyrocket. So that's what I'd be looking at there. And I touched on this already a little bit at the beginning, but one of the very best things you can do is stop overbuilding. Like, stop trying to make things perfect before anyone knows about them. Stop trying to create a perfect content. Stop trying to create a perfect coaching program. Stop trying to create a perfect like check-in or sales call experience. Like, all of these things are important, but the reality is, who are you right now to judge what perfect looks like? One of the very best things perfect means in content and business and sales calls is just taking action and just letting your ideal clients decide what perfect looks like for them. The only way you're going to find what good looks like is if you speak to enough people. If you put something out in front of enough people and you get enough data. If you get enough data in terms of what good looks like from them, it'll make things exponentially easier for you to grow, and exponentially easier for you to understand what they want to see more of, what coaching programs they want, and your ability to drive as a byproduct skyrockets. So here's the 3-part system that scales, the clients and the coaches I work with one-to-one. 3 things. 1 is getting attention online. So making sure your followers are growing, making sure you're getting more leads regularly with your content. This is just from 2 things. 1 is organic content. 2 is boosted content. 2 is making sure you're getting quality leads coming through. So actually getting people watching your content, watching your stories and saying, hey coach, I want this thing. I want this calorie calculator. I want this PDF. I want this guide. I want to work with you. All of these things we want to measure and get them, converting. The third thing is sales, right? So how many sales how many sales calls are you booking? How many meetings are you booking? And how many of those are actually paying you money, right? So that would be the 3 big things I would be obsessing of, and having clear numbers, clear things you're working towards daily. So if you're feeling like you're not having focus and you're feeling overwhelmed, literally having this on your notes or as a wallpaper on your phone will make a hell of a difference. So like, looking at these 3 things, am I getting these 3 things done? Am I getting attention? Am I getting leads? Am I getting sales? Am I booking sales calls? Am I closing them? If you obsess on those few things, it's almost physically impossible for you not to win and do extremely well. And here's a very good mindset comparison to think about as well. As like, the reality is, most of the time the coaching program isn't the issue. You're overthinking things that are not the issue. You're overthinking having the perfect logo. You're overthinking having a perfect website, the perfect funnel, the perfect coaching experience. But none of these things you can have perfect without having people tell you what good looks like, without having enough conversations. So stop worrying so much about the perfect training plan, the perfect nutrition plan for clients. Like, these things are important, but your coaching program should be built in a way where you're getting data from your clients daily, weekly. You're having feedback with your clients so you can understand what they're struggling with and what needs adjusting. So don't stress so much about that, and really get obsessive on really getting clear on the metrics and numbers of, am I doing these 3 things? Am I getting attention? Am I getting leads? Am I getting sales? If you do those 3 things, you can grow exponentially with your business. And here's a very, very tactical action plan to actually solve that in your business. Get unstuck and make some progress and make the next 6 to 12 months in your business like unstoppable. So here's 3 things you can do right now. Open your calendar and audit your day and audit your week. Like, track your time, track what you're doing, and look and see if you're doing in your where you're spending your time. Did you just spend the last 2, 3, 6 hours the last week, God forbid, hopefully not, coming up with a perfect logo? Did you spend the last 2 weeks editing a video? Because that's good, but the time that this should take you should be exponentially lower. So really audit your week and make sure the majority of your focus, the majority of the time is being spent on authority-led content, right? Make sure you're spending your time getting attention, getting leads, getting sales calls. 3 bullet points, 3 things to remember. If you ever get stuck, if you ever feel overwhelmed, literally go back to this. Go back on your notes and look at those 3 things. Content, conversations, calls. That's where the majority of your time should be going. The second thing you want to look at as well is making sure you're posting authority-led content. I see a lot of coaches in the space just posting content for the feels, for the vibes. That doesn't necessarily grow a coaching business. It's good to have, but one of the very best things you can have in your coaching and your Instagram content is having content that makes you look and portrays you as an authority. If you portray your business and yourself as the authority, you're going to get so many more leads and you're going to have so many more serious people coming through. And portraying yourself as an authority doesn't mean you need to, wear a suit and tie and walk around and act like a big shot. It really doesn't. It just means that you need to demonstrate how you've done the thing that your people want to do. If you want to work with busy professionals, how have you personally, if you want to work with busy professionals to transform and get in amazing shape, how have you physically, personally gotten in amazing shape? The more you can share, the more you can talk about you doing the thing that your audience wants to do, the more you're going to inspire, the more you're going to motivate, and the more you're going to have the authority, and more people are going to want to work with you. That alone is going to be an absolute game changer. The third thing you want to do is go back through your conversations, go back through your leads, and make sure you're booking regular calls and make sure you're having conversations. We're living in such a digital world right now where we're losing that one-to-one connection, right, with people. If you just go and make it a journey and make it a mission of yours to just speak to people regularly, people you actually want to work with, make sure you speak to these people on a call, ideally it would be best, and really understand what their struggles are, what their goals are, and actively offer them solutions. Offer them your paid program, offer them free solutions, offer them cheaper solutions, like different things, offer them what you feel like is best. But the more you do that, you're going to make more sales. As a byproduct, you're going to make much more money. But secondly, your content is going to get so much better because you're speaking to people, you're hearing their problems, and then you're circling back and you're creating hyper-specific content for the problems people are giving you. If you do that, you're going to attract more people. More people means you're going to have more of an opportunity to close people for your coaching program. So if you're, it's simple stuff, but a lot of the time simple stuff can get lost when you've been doing business for a while, when you've been trying to make things work for a while, and you get stuck in your own head, right? So if you literally take this blueprint, it's one of the fastest and simplest ways to get yourself unstuck and really drive the success of your coaching business forward. Look, that's everything I had to go through today to get you unstuck, to get you moving forward. The reality is, if you want to work with me one-to-one to help you install these exact systems and blueprints inside your business, so you can do those 3 things and master them with your content, with your conversations, with your sales calls, and literally add anywhere between 3 to 5K per month extra to your coaching business fully online. There'll be a link down below. You can input a few details about your coaching business, and we can see if I can help with anything to drive it forward. The very best scenario is I'll run you through how the one-to-one program with me works, but the worst case is you get free coaching from me on the call, and you get your biggest problems diagnosed, and that can potentially refer you to someone that might help you better if it's not a fit. So you win a lot from the call either way. If you find these videos helpful, make sure to hit subscribe because there's a ton more coming your way in a very similar format and style as this.